In today's episode of Adani Green Talks, we continue our exploration of transformative companies that are driving meaningful change through breakthrough technologies designed to tackle some of the world's most pressing challenges.
बढ़ते हैं विष्णु अगले नाम की तरफ। मनोज सांकर नीमोकेयर वेलनेस का नेतृत्व वो करते हैं, जो नवजात शिशु और मैटरनल हेल्थ केयर में एक आधुनिक इनोवेटर है।
That's right. Their flagship device, it's called NemoCare, is specifically designed for emerging markets. It plays a vital role in preventing avoidable deaths, and that's so important. In the process, it saves countless young lives.
NemoCare has taken on the critical challenge of reducing neonatal mortality by developing a pioneering wearable device that monitors vital signs in newborns. This first-of-its-kind innovation is designed to prevent neonatal deaths and holds significant promises as an accessible healthcare solution for low- and middle-income countries.
For a moment, I want you to imagine that you and your spouse have given birth to a baby little girl. She's born at 28 weeks, a little premature, but nothing to worry. You have access to the best of care, and she has a 98% chance of survival. She would go on to survive and thrive, and you would have a lifetime of memories with her. But imagine that the same baby little girl is born in one of her resource-constrained settings. Even in the best of common facilities, she has a mere 2% chance of survival. Even worse, the nurse would ask the mother to come and check if the baby is alive every single hour. This is a sad reality for 8 million clinically low birth weight babies that are born in our country every single year. They're susceptible to a number of life-threatening conditions like apneas, hypothermias, and respiratory disorders. We lose 400,000 of these newborns each year. 80% of these deaths are simply preventable. In a developed setting, we have 2 nurses taking care of 1 newborn. While in our resource-constrained settings, we have the same 2 nurses taking care of close to 100 newborns, and without much aid that can help in taking care of these. It was a crisis of health inequality for these newborns. The place that they were born was determining their chance of survival. That led us to build NemoCare Raksha to bridge this gap. A first-of-its-kind wearable device that can track key vital parameters, all from a single point on the baby's foot and all non-invasively. Multiple of these devices now are put on these babies. All the data is present at the click of a button for the healthcare worker. And through our remote patient monitoring system, a doctor can look at the baby's data from anywhere on this planet. We augment clinical hemodynamic monitoring for the newborns using our wearable device. And using our clinical decision support system, we give trends to be tracked and risk scores so that the resources can be optimized for the nursing staff that is there. But what excites us most is our AI engine that allows to predict much before any kind of illness is identified in these newborns. In the particular case of neonatal sepsis, we've been able to identify 48 hours before clinical signs of degradation appears with very high accuracy. And now, every time there's a distress condition, the nurse gets an alert and has timely intervention provided to the newborn. The nursing staff is provided with tools now to take care of these babies in a very efficient manner and give them timely interventions. We're providing ICU-grade monitoring at the bedside. This allows for the baby to be stepped down faster. This allows for interventions like kangaroo mother care and breastfeeding, which are natural mechanisms that allow the baby to recover fast and thrive and bond with the mother. This is a trend that's picking up even in the West, bringing the mother close to the baby with zero separation as soon as possible. And we're able to enable this through our solution. We are proudly a Make in India product, completely designed and manufactured in India, keeping the baby at the center of the entire design process through social capital supported by different agencies. We started our journey 8 years ago, built our first prototype with social impact funds, tested our product extensively in our labs, put out clinical validation protocols, went through the entire regulatory process and went through this journey of development. We filed 6 global patents, 3 of them granted already for us. We ensured that we wanted to give the best of care for every newborn, irrespective of the place that they're born in. We validated against the gold standard in one of the top corporate hospitals in our country, went on to do several studies for validation and publish our results in peer-reviewed journals so that we ensure we give only the best of care for our newborns. And when we are introducing a digital technology, many of the healthcare workers were using a digital platform for interfacing with this for the first time. We had the responsibility to do extensive usability and acceptance studies. We partnered with the Indian Institute of Public Health, Gandhinagar, where we iterated several times on the product to ensure that our best version was out there. We've deployed our product across 6 states in India and have touched the lives of 35,000 plus newborns to date. And we are grateful to our CSR partners who have enabled this journey for us. A big thank you to our global funding agencies who have fueled our innovation and have brought us to this stage today. We started this journey 8 years ago through a rigorous clinical immersion process out of the Center for Healthcare Entrepreneurship at Hyderabad. With able mentorship, we've shadowed doctors across the country, ensured everyone's need inclusively was taken care of, and we built this product. We built champions across the country, presented the product at the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, Neocon, where doctors loved our product and we had champions. When we thought it was just the babies in the resource-constrained settings that needed our support, UNICEF put out its statement post the pandemic that every baby is going to be threatened by the strained healthcare systems. Once they discharge, even in the best of settings and affluent settings, these newborns had a high risk. That gave us an opportunity to build and package what we had built for the hard-to-reach places. It was built so robust that with the help of a digital interface, we were able to provide home care. And what this enabled for us is a one-for-one, where for every newborn that's taken care of in affluent setting, it is our pledge to ensure that care is provided for a newborn in a hard-to-reach setting, and that ensured sustainability of our models. We shared our journey with the country, and we got great amplification of our journey through the Shark Tank journey. We're at the forefront of digital health. We have standardized and digitized the entire workflows in neonatal ICUs with our patented technology. We have built a template for scaling healthcare across care continuums with interoperability, and this technology can be scaled for any vulnerable population with digital interfaces and AI in the forefront, with data being collected from day 0 of the baby, ensuring that we have all kind of risk scores and predictions for these newborns in place. We are proudly a Make in India product for the world, and it's our mission to ensure that we give health equity to each newborn, irrespective of their place of birth. And we want to make the ovarian lottery fairer, and we believe it's the work of our generation to give these babies a chance to survive and thrive. And the next 2 years, we want to touch and impact the life of 1 million newborns, and soon hope to be a part of a world where no child ever dies of a cause that is completely preventable. Thank you.
Well, we're going to move on and meet more of these wonderful people who've been innovators. They've got ideas, and they really are such an inspiration. Soumya has pioneered mechanized ocean-based tropical seaweed farming at C6 Energy. Now, that's quite a mouthful. I'll try and explain. This company has created a fully integrated system from cultivation to producing sustainable end products like fertilizers, bioplastics, and biofuels as well.
बिल्कुल, और अब स्वागत करते हैं सौम्या बालेंद्रन का अगले ग्रीन टॉक के लिए. सौम्या.
With sustainability at the heart of its mission to combat climate change and ensure food security, C6 Energy is revolutionizing tropical seaweed farming through advanced mechanization. The company is developing a portfolio of globally patented products that offer innovative solutions across agriculture, aquaculture, bioplastics and the food industry.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I am Soumya, co-founder of C6 Energy. Very happy to be here to share what we do. Before I start, I want to actually start with a question. How many of us have been to a beach? That's all? Okay, I see many hands now. But have any of us ever sat there and watched and considered what could be the real potential of the oceans? Can the oceans actually be a source of saving our planet? And what do I mean by saving our planet? So as we know that we are in India, and generally the population is one of the biggest things that we have. And our human population is growing globally. With human population growing globally, we also see a lot more consumption of everything. Right from the minute we wake up, we think energy is just petrol and diesel in our cars. But energy touches our life from the minute we wake up. The toothbrushes that we use, the clothes that we wear, this mic that I'm speaking with, the seats that all of you are sitting on, is everything derived from fossil fuels and energy. So, if we continue using the energy the way we are, and we want to fuel our nation's aspirations, we want to become a developed country. And one of the core pillars of development is energy use efficiently. But having said that, we need to look at other ways of doing this. If we continue the way that we have been for the last multiple decades, we are actually going to inherit a world to our children, which is not wonderment, but more like a polluted waste. So what is it that we can do? It's not that simple where we can go and say, hey, listen, this is not okay for me, so let me stop using plastics, or let me stop driving to my office, and we'll start walking. These are not sustainable. You need to come up with solutions which are scalable and sustainable and meets the aspirations of a country like us, and globally also to meet the demands. So what exactly is the problem statement? The problem statement that we're talking about is producing sustainable feedstock for biofuels and bioplastics. And when I say sustainable feedstock for biofuels, many of us here in the audience might know that, oh, biofuels is something that's already been done. I can make it from sugarcane, I can make it from corn ethanol, and a whole bunch of other alternatives. But those solutions do not work for a country like India. Why? We have a lot of people to feed, and these crops need fertile land, fresh water, and fertilizers, which are all scarce resources in our country. We need to be using every piece of fertile land that we have to grow food, to feed our people. Then what's the best way? Is there a solution at all? How can we actually produce feedstock that can be converted into these? We believe the answer is seaweeds. The world's most sustainable and scalable feedstock. Now, why do I say this? Seaweeds are nothing but plants which grow on the oceans. They don't need land, they don't need fresh water, they don't need fertilizers, they don't need any of these scarce resources that we need. And they can be grown throughout the year at an industrial scale. When I talk about industrial scale, every solution has specific pillars. And at C6, we are focusing on 3 of them. The first one is inventing ocean agriculture, sustainable feedstock on the oceans. I think many times we don't realize our world is 70% oceans. And as humans, we've explored space more than the oceans. We haven't started scratching even the surface on what potential the oceans could hold for us. So building ocean agriculture is the first pillar that we work on. Then converting them into bioplastics, which are more natural and biodegradable. And finally, biofuels, which could fuel our energy needs. And there is actually no other place better than India to do this. If you look at this map behind me here, right, you can see India and a bright red spot around it. What it means is our temperatures of the oceans is always warm. And warmth means plants can thrive and grow well. If we were near the Arctics or the Antarctics, you probably get one season and one small growing area. But here, we can cultivate throughout the year. which means you can actually produce not just a scalable, sustainable, but a continually producing industrial feedstock, because that's what is needed to answer a challenge like a biofuels or a bioplastics. And we will need less than 1% of the ocean space to actually fulfill the energy demands. Then what's the problem? The problem is, okay, we found out about seaweed, then let's all just cultivate seaweed, right? So the issue is the technology today, or at least a few years before until C6 came into this whole space, ocean agriculture was how land agriculture was 10,000 years ago. Imagine a farmer walks into this room today and says, I can only cultivate 10 square feet of land and grow carrots or rice. It sounds so ancient, right? But that's how agriculture started. That's how ocean agriculture is today. People can farm just 10 square meters in the traditional method. You have to break your backs, work all day to make a small productivity, which doesn't even serve him enough for the monthly income that the family requires. So we came in and we said, if we can change this and make them more mechanized and more scalable, now that is something that would change how ocean agriculture can be done. So we in C6, over the years, built patented technologies all the way from farm installation, automatic seeding and harvesters, farming automation, and the platforms itself. We have about a family of 15 patents granted globally. And it's the first time that anybody has developed technology at this scale and looking at deployment. All of this came together as a culmination of our efforts last year. And we inaugurated the world's first and the largest seaweed farm off the coast of Indonesia in February. We are working with our Indian government to see how we can bring this technology back home so that we can do this in our country as well. So what does this mean for us? Once we're able to unlock the paradigm of ocean agriculture, you also have to see what are the products that you can make downstream. So on one side, it's about producing the feedstock. On the other side, what can be used for? So we worked on applications which can benefit, again, priority sectors like agriculture, bioplastics, and biofuels. We made products which can help in improving land agriculture's yield by 10%. And these products put together can open up an opportunity of more than $1 trillion for us to access. So growing seaweeds and converting them into a variety of products opens up all of these applications, your agri inputs, bulk food ingredients, biodegradable plastics, sustainable chemicals, and of course, biofuels. So C6 has built a vertically integrated business focusing both on the upstream as well as on the downstream. In downstream, we created agri products which can improve productivity. And today we are one of the first companies which actually have created patented agri inputs and exports globally, all the way from US to Japan. And in India, we have always imported agrochemicals from other countries. Now here today we are all the way from US, Europe, Japan, made in India, selling again. This product has been tested in more than 25 countries, 100 plus R&D trials, 40 different crop types to provide a comprehensive yield increase of greater than 10%. We as a company are also focusing on producing bioplastics based out of seaweeds. Why is this important? All of us here use Swiggy, Zomatos, and takeaway, right? Food comes in a nice packaged box, which we eat quickly, and like 15 minutes, it's thrown out. But many of us don't realize there's a small little lining of a plastic in each of these containers. And PFAS is becoming an even bigger problem today. So C6 is actually looking at solutions which can replace this plastic lining with a biodegradable option made from seaweed, which is not just sustainable, but also healthier for all of us. And of course, chasing our vision and dream, of converting the seaweed into biofuels. Last year, we entered into an MOU with HPCL, one of the largest oil companies in the country, to turn seaweed into fuels. This has been supported massively by Government of India, the Ministry of Petroleum, to say that this particular problem is a national security and energy independence statement. And if there's any way that we could do this in our country to make our country more self-sufficient in energy needs, then that is something that we can all lay our lives for. And hopefully, 5 years from now, when we do this, we are visualizing something like this. Sea plants grown across multiple ports around India and making fuel out of this which can power planes and ships. And Mr. Adani ji, if we can make this a reality to happen in our Indian ports, just even a few of them to start, we could actually be world leaders, not just in other technologies, but also in the energy technology. So that would be something that we all wish, and hopefully in 5 years that could become a reality. Thank you.
Join us in the next episode as we continue to showcase transformative innovations that are driving progress towards a more sustainable and equitable future.